it is, I'll, whatever.
Yeah, after the six.
Right.
10 seconds.
We'll be changing it because it's close from one show to the next, and they were having an issue trying to
5, 4, 3, 2.
I mean, it's not so big between shows.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Tuesday, March 17th, 2020. I want to start by saying happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody celebrating with everything going on today. It's important that we take a moment to just take a breath and say happy St. Patrick's Day and just appreciate the day for what it is. All right, we're going to cover a lot for you today. We've got an update on where things stand related to the COVID-19 coronavirus here in Ohio, related to testing as well as the polls being closed today due to an order from the Department of Health at the insistence of Governor Mike DeWine. We're going to talk to 3 News investigator Mark Naymik about that shortly in just a moment. We're also going to talk about where the cases stand right now ahead of the upcoming press conference from the governor. That's happening at 2 p.m. And also, we'll move past that into some ways to maintain a little bit of normalcy on St. Patrick's Day when so much has changed. So many people have been looking forward to a big celebration today, ways that you can still celebrate while maintaining that physical distance. We also have a guide for you on where you can get takeout for the best St. Patrick's Day meals, and also just takeout in general, as people are being encouraged to get delivery, get takeout from those local establishments that are no longer open at this time. Then we're going to end things on the right note. We're going to talk about ways that people are continuing to keep that social, emotional connection while they're in the midst of physical distancing. We are going to start right off the top here with Mark Naymik, our investigative reporter. So I'm going to get him on the phone here. Because we are keeping our physical distance here at 3 News, I'm going to contact him over the phone. We're going to talk to him over speakerphone. So we will have him here in just a moment. I'm going to turn that on speaker, so you're going to hear the phone ringing right now.
This is Mark.
This is Mark. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. I just explained to everyone that you're joining us remotely today, as we've sort of limited the number of people here in the studio at 3 News downtown. So we've got you over the phone to talk with us about the polls closing. But first, just tell us, what's it like working remotely? How's that been? How's that working out for you?
It's pretty empty. We're not yet in a doomsday scenario that you see in the movies, but the streets and the traffic are quiet. A lot of places are closed. Usually working remotely, you find friendly restaurants and diners that let you hang out as you connect with sources and do other things, but that's not really the case today. You're able to get into some of the takeout places briefly, but yeah, it's quiet. I've been around so long, and I remember covering the blackout from 20-some years ago in Cleveland, where it really was empty when that happened. We're not quite there, but it is different. But I'm a lucky one, right? I'm out there and I'm working, and there's a lot of people in tough situations right now because of this. So I feel I got nothing to complain about.
Well, and a lot of people impacted too, which is what we want to talk to you about today. I don't think anybody expected. I just want to take a minute right now and make sure that our sound is okay, because I did get a message from someone on here that we're having a sound issue. So before we get into it, I want to make sure that our sound is okay. Is our sound registering? Okay. Just checking with my producer that I have here working for me. Somebody that's watching out there right now, if you want to let me know if you can hear the sound, that would be great, just so that we can absolutely confirm that that's working properly. I'm not getting any more of those messages now, but want to make sure that is the case. Okay, so we're talking with Mark today about the fact this is incredibly unexpected. I don't know if it's incredibly unexpected. Maybe some people were projecting this, but it did come down at the last minute that the Ohio primary is not taking place today.
Yeah, and that really was a decision that was back and forth throughout much of the evening. I kind of posted a lighthearted joke on Twitter last night that kind of broke it down. It was on, then it was off, and then it was still on, and then it was still off, and then you had some posturing going on and various memos and public statements by our officials. And in the end, it was called off because the governor triggered the decision to say it's a health risk, and under those powers, close the locations. But that in of itself didn't really cancel the election. He closed the places, which in effect closes it. But that left some people, a handful of would-be voters showed up I saw reports out of Columbus and here in Cleveland. Showed up to vote because not everybody's watching Twitter or following this news well into the evening. There were numerous things, Stephanie, going on yesterday. The initial was the hope that a Franklin County judge would get the authority to postpone the election. That didn't happen. That may have been a misread by the governor. We don't know, but that then left the election going forward. There was separately a Republican, I believe in Wood County, who was went to court and said, hey, you're, disenfranchising my right. He's a candidate to run for office. You can't do that. His case went all the way up to went right to the Supreme Court. And in the middle of the night, 1:30ish, they ruled, they didn't take action on it. They dismissed the request. So that kind of left then some more legal limbo. But here's the bottom line. Only the legislature, our lawmakers, can set the primary date. And so what is happening is we're talking right now is that Ohio House Speaker Larry Householder and the minority leader, Amelia Sykes from the Cleveland area, are trying to get their members, kind of reach them and see if they can come back to session to legally adopt a change or extend Ohio's 2020 primary election. We don't know what dates they are going to pick or settle on. They were initially thinking June 2nd. That's what the governor had proposed.
Right.
But Stephanie, the reality is Democrats don't even want to wait that long. There's some proposals informally kicking around of maybe mid-April, and it might only just be by mail, maybe no voting by in person. All of that has to be sorted out right now. The fact that the House Speaker agreed to call the session means that he's changed his position from a few hours ago when he said he wasn't going to do it, and he admonished DeWine and the Secretary of State for doing this. Not all officials are happy. Marcia Fudge, the congresswoman from Warrensville Heights, is accused DeWine of disenfranchising voters and taking away their rights. Everybody's got a different view. School districts are eager to know the outcome because they begin planning for their next school year right now. And so they want to know if they have levy money kicking in 2021. There's a number of important ballot issues out there. So this is constantly evolving. It's almost been a story that the minute I think I have it ready and I rehearse a line or two, it changes on you.
And we know that you were definitely the one to stay on top of it, Mark. I was following along yesterday with you on Twitter as you were updating and posting the results of this back and forth and all the confusion coming in.
Yeah, and I think we'll know more. At least we'll know if they're holding the session, if they've agreed and they've picked a time. I don't know the mechanics of how quickly they can pull together. There's also some effort to talk to the Ohio Attorney General about figuring out what leeway they have, the lawmakers, and maybe coming under what they're normally required when they have a meeting, because it's obviously extraordinary circumstances all around. I know there was probably plenty of jokes out on Twitter. I know it's not something we want to joke about, but people were making the comparison that if you thought Iowa's caucus was bad, Ohio certainly made a good showing of chaos. Again, just in this case, driven by some extraordinary circumstances.
Sure, and certainly definitely some people wondering if this was the plan all along to go with the Ohio Department of Health in order to close the polling locations. Lots of people wondering why this was done so late when the Court of Appeals do close at a certain hour, so there was no time to appeal it through the courts, why an emergency legislative session wasn't called. So we know that you're on top of that, and you'll have whatever information is available for us tonight.
Those are all great questions, and we'll see what parts we can answer. Really, I think the governor appears to have kind of in real time meant to do the right thing. Looking back, it should have been done earlier, because then legislators could have made a decision and a lot more could have happened. But we are where we are.
We are where we are. And as we know right now, June 2nd has been floated around, but just to echo what you were saying earlier, we don't know what that will be.
Yeah, We don't know. And there's been calls for the Secretary of State to mail, everyone who hasn't pulled a ballot, a ballot so they could vote by mail. None of those things are settled. That would be extraordinarily expensive for the elections boards around the state. I'm sure all of those things are going to get discussed once they can settle on officially and formally changing our primary, which technically today is still election day. You just can't vote. Let that sink in.
That's the bottom line today. You just can't vote. Well, maybe we'll hear more about that in the press conference coming up at 2 p.m. Mark, we look forward to hearing your story tonight. Your story will air. Which of our shows will your story air in tonight?
We'll be coming on at What Matters Most at 6.
Okay, great. So we can look forward to more from Mark Naymik on What Matters Most at 6 p.m. Mark, thank you. I'll leave you to it.
Thank you.
Have a good one out there. We'll see you on the air. Bye. All right, that was our investigative reporter, Mark Naymik, bringing us the latest on the polling locations being closed here in Ohio. Of course, that was pursuant to an Ohio Department of Health order calling this a health emergency. Bringing things back to where we stand right now with the coronavirus here in Ohio. According to the Ohio Department of Health, we have 50 confirmed cases. We have learned this morning that there is a confirmed case in Lake County. This is what Lake County has to say. While this is the first confirmed case of a Lake County resident, it is likely that COVID-19 is spreading in our community, and we expect the number of confirmed cases to grow. It's imperative that all businesses, organizations, and residents follow social distancing practice to the best of their abilities. That is from Health Commissioner Ron H. Graham. So now we do have confirmed cases of COVID-19 coronavirus in 13 counties with 14 hospitalizations. We can expect updates to those numbers at 2 p.m. when they're released by the Ohio Department of Health, and we also expect to see an update on those numbers when Governor Mike DeWine has a press conference. It's scheduled till at 2 p.m. We'll bring that to you live as soon as we have it. Of course, there has been a little bit of delay in the past days, so scheduled right now for 2 p.m., so right around that time. So keep that in mind. We do have an update for you on testing the coronavirus here. University hospitals and Cleveland Clinic's drive-through testing sites are at capacity for the day, so they are asking, please do not get in line for those drive-through sites. They are at capacity for the day. That does not mean that they do not have tests. What that means is they do not have the person power to administer those tests to any more people than are already in line. We also got an update today from Metro Health System that they can now test COVID-19 samples at their laboratory with results available after just 2 hours. So that's the first hospital in the state of Ohio with that technology. However, this is what they say. This is a quote from President Akram Boutros from Metro Health. Supplies are very limited, and testing at the time must be reserved for the hospitalized patients who are critically ill and those who have had direct contact with them. People who have had mild to moderate symptoms are encouraged to call Metro Health's hotline. That number is 440-59-COVID. So that's 440-592-6843. So keep that in mind moving forward. And then, of course, Dr. Boutros wants to remind everyone to wash your hands and be kind. We will get through this together. As you know, here in Ohio, there have been gatherings banned of 50 or more, but the CDC is now recommending that gatherings of 10 or more be canceled for the next 8 weeks. That came out yesterday. And as we've seen, Ohio is really leading the way in taking precautions to prevent deaths here. So we'll see what Governor Mike DeWine has to say about that at 2 p.m. Here is the latest on the closures pursuant to what was talked about yesterday, not wanting gatherings of more than 50 people. Fitness centers, public recreation centers, movie theaters, bowling alleys, indoor water parks, trampoline parks. Statewide, bars and restaurants are closed to the public, but do keep in mind that these establishments are still able to be open for takeout and carryout. So people are recommending that you do patronize your local establishments in that way if you can, as we all work to get through this together. And as a reminder, if you are quarantined by health officials or by work, or if your work has been closed related to coronavirus concerns, you are eligible for unemployment. That is immediately. You do not have to wait the 1 week waiting period. Those rules have been waived, and you're being asked to apply for that online. So the website to do that is unemployment.ohio.gov. Again, that's unemployment.ohio.gov. You can do everything you need to do online. There's no need to call. There's no need to go in to an unemployment facility in order to do that. Also, with today being St. Patrick's Day, the state of Ohio is also offering a liquor buyback option for bars and restaurants that had maybe stocked up for the holiday. It is a big drinking holiday, St. Patrick's Day, so keep that in mind if you're an owner of one of those establishments and you'd like to take advantage of that. As of now, officially, this is the first day that K through 12 schools are closed. We do know that we are expecting closures to come very soon of daycare centers and senior care centers, so keep that in mind. Now, yesterday we did share with you, as many people are experiencing unexpected downtime, there are things that you can do. Here's an update to that. You can attend virtual fitness classes. There's a company called The Workshop that's a Westlake dance and fitness studio. So they are offering free dance kind of Zumba style classes. They're doing this on Facebook Live every day at 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. I know 6 a.m. is early, but keep in mind when they do a Facebook Live, that video will continue to be available longer. So they'll stream it at 6 a.m. You can do it at your convenience. That's at 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. And they will also do HIIT workouts. That's high intensity interval training, and offer recipes. So their Facebook page is facebook.com/theworkshopcle. Now, these are being offered for free at this time, so keep that in mind. But the company did make the statement that, you know, if you want to purchase gift cards for future memberships or for, you know, future use in general, they would appreciate that. You can connect with them on Instagram at theworkshopcle. Now, as we did mention, St. Patrick's Day is today, so we do have a weather report coming in from our very own Michael Estime. He provided this to us at noon. That's up on the website. So here's what he has to say about the weather right now. It is cloudy and cool, and we got a misty start to the day, but he says we have a pot of golden sunshine in our forecast later this afternoon and early evening. We can expect temperatures to gradually warm from the 30s into the mid or upper 40s this afternoon with clearing clouds. Temperatures might be a little cooler lakeside due to a lake breeze, but inland communities will see easily mid to upper 40s for the highs. We've got clearing skies tonight, which should allow for temperatures to slip into the mid 30s overnight. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we've got increasing clouds on Wednesday, which will eventually lead to another round of rain chances during the late afternoon and through the evening. Tomorrow should be noticeably warmer, though, with highs jumping up into the mid 50s. Showers and possibly a few thunderstorms are possible heading into Thursday and Friday, with highs well above normal in the 60s. A few areas south of Akron, Canton could see temperatures be up clear near 70. Yes, I did say that, Thursday and Friday near 70. So while you are maintaining your physical distance, keep that in mind if you're able to get outside, but keep that safe space around you. This will come with rain and a few storms, though, so maybe not necessarily the best day there, but if you do need to go out and get essentials and maybe get yourself some of that fresh air, Michael is recommending Saturday and Sunday because the rain chances will be a little bit lower on those days. So thank you, Michael Estime, for sending us that weather report. He's also working remotely, so he sent us that in from home today. We appreciate that. All right, we know that lots of people are disappointed at the big St. Patrick's Day parade not taking place today, but you can still get your St. Patrick's Day meals delivered to you. Remember, restaurants are open for carryout and delivery. We have our best picks for you up online. You can check that out on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Here's a couple to consider. Downtown Carl's Inn of the Barristers, that is on West 3rd. On the west side, you've got the Stone Mad Pub in Ohio City, and then on the east side, we have Craggy Boglands, that's in Willoughby. We also have a takeout guide in general for you if you're looking for delivery food options. We have that filed right now on the website. Lots of great options there that are still open for delivery. Aladdin's Eatery, Brew Nuts is open as well right now. We've got Cocky's Bagel Sandwiches. The Fairmount, Great Lakes Brewed Company, it has limited options available for delivery. Jack Frost Donuts, La Pizzeria. So go ahead and check that out. That's on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Wanting to end things on the right note for you today. Yesterday, we did ask you about ways that you're staying connected while we need to keep our physical space. And I just want to make a note here. Something that I've seen trending online is a lot of people are sort of rejecting the phrase social distancing in favor of the phrase physical distancing, because even though we do have to maintain our physical space from each other, doctors are recommending that we keep at least 6 feet from one another. We don't necessarily have to keep our social distance from each other. Mental health is incredibly important. Really, in these times, these are the times where we need to rely on each other. We need to speak up when we need support. We need to check in on our family and our loved ones and our friends. So a lot of people rejecting that phrase social distancing, actually moving towards a phrase of physical distancing. That's what I'm going to be doing. I think words really matter. I think it's great that people are taking this time to really pay attention to the way we're thinking about this and the way we're speaking to each other. So in that spirit, while we have to maintain our physical distance from each other, we've asked people ways that they're continuing to connect, even though we're sort of isolated and kind of staying at home and keeping to ourselves. So we got some great suggestions. Please keep sending them in. You can use hashtag 3Connect. Mentioned yesterday that some people are doing virtual dinner parties. Well, they'll pop up a video chat, they'll cook dinner, enjoy that meal together, have that conversation. One very specific recommendation from somebody with their coworkers, now that they're working remotely, they've created a funny cat video Skype group. Who doesn't love a funny cat video? And cats, we know, are pretty much notorious for their isolation, so they were kind of made for this kind of situation. So lots, I'm sure, of funny cat content out there. That's a good recommendation for people. Here's a really sweet one, too. Someone sent me that they're emailing happy notes from kids who are home from school to nursing homes where people can't visit because that is a highly at-risk population. So nursing homes have been closed down to visitors, so that's something to keep in mind too. And